Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. And I'm coming to you from Circular Quay. I'm down here at wharf number 6, and I've got a new guest today. I've got the Golden Grove, which is just pulled up here. Not sure why they've pulled up, but it's a welcome change. Anyway, it's a bit breezy today, so I thought I'd come down here rather than go in a breezy area, because otherwise I'll have some issues with the mic and the sound quality. So I'll just stay out of the elements at the moment, and if the wind dies down later on, I'll go for a bit of a walk and talk. But thank you once again for joining me on Jim's 5am Club. It's Monday morning. We're getting closer and closer to Christmas. The vibe in the city is building. And what I want to do today is just take you through a book summary, another book summary, a wonderful book by a wonderful author. For those who do a lot of reading, especially the personal development type and leadership training, you'll know of Brian Tracey. He's an absolute leader in his field, and an awesome presenter, an awesome writer, and a person that we can all learn something new from every single book that we read, or every single day that we touch these people, because they've just got a knack. They've just got that wonderful knack of being able to put things into perspective and make things easier to understand, digest, and take action on. So the book that I'll be covering today is entitled Eat That Frog. A novel title to a book, but it's a book which is an absolute classic, and it's terminology that we hear all the time. So the author kicks off with something which is really powerful and really interesting. And I think with age, I'm starting to learn this and appreciate it more than what I appreciated it when I was a younger bloke. And he says that you can't really teach anybody anything. And you can be the best teacher in the world. You can have the best material in the world. You can have the best teaching style in the world. But at the end of the day, you're not going to teach anybody anything, because all you can basically do is bring it to their attention, bring it to their front of mind, and it's up to them to either accept it, reject it, or ignore it completely. And we know in our lives we come across lots of people, who you chat to and you engage, and they've got no interest, absolutely no interest in taking on board anything that you have to say, regardless of how you say it or when you say it. It's just something that you just need to learn to live with, appreciate, and not get upset about. What I'd hate to do is to be a school teacher, to have people who you care for, to have information, to have topics and learnings that are just so powerful and important to help people grow and develop, and yet see those messages, see those teachings falling on empty ears, hardened hearts, and souls which are misguided and just drifting. But we shouldn't take it personally, but it shouldn't stop us. It shouldn't stop anybody from trying to pass on their knowledge, pass on their wisdom, because you never know. You could be sowing a seed, or there could be somebody out there who really wants to learn and wants to take it on board because they're ready. They're ready, they're in a place, they're at a particular point in time where your seeds will fall on fertile ground. So the other thing we've learnt also is that knowledge means nothing. So it doesn't matter what you learn, it means nothing at the end of the day. unless you apply it. So it's applied knowledge, actualized habits, things that you practice on a regular basis that become habits, that become routines, and become your reality, that count. You know, you can fill a person's head with all the knowledge in the world, but unless they get off their ass, unless they lift a finger, unless they start moving, it's just waste. It's just a wasted knowledge. It needs to be applied. And what we're alluding to, or what the author is alluding to, is that action is the key. You need to be action oriented. You need to want to move. You need to want to use what you have to make the most of it. And so you need to start. You need to build momentum. You need to make progress. And as Brian Tracey says, you need to learn to complete the things that you start. When I was working at Optus, I did a personality sort of test, an aptitude test. It was more on personality, I think. And what it gauged was what sort of type you fall into. And I fell into a yellow colour type. And the thing about the yellow colour type that I learnt, and what I learned about myself, is that I'm really good. I'm really good at being creative. I'm really good at engaging with people. But the biggest challenge that I face, given that sort of personality type, is that I'll start lots of things, but not necessarily finish all the things that I start. I get very excited. I'm very excitable at starting things. I'm very, very happy to be on a team, to kick things off, to get things going, to get the dancing started. But one of the personality traits of that colour, the yellow colour, and as you can see, this beautiful ferry highlights that yellow colour, is that I'll start things, and if I'm not careful, if I'm not focused, if I'm not determined, I won't end up finishing them. So the key skill that Brian Tracey says that separates leaders from people who lack leadership skills is that they finish off whatever they start. And I guess over the years, the most important lesson that I've learnt, and it's something that my parents always asked me to be mindful of, was to, whatever you start, if you're committed to start it, if you're focused and you're convinced that what you're doing is good for you, then once you start it, you've got to finish it. But we also need to be balanced. There are things in our lives, there are relationships in our lives, there are jobs in our lives. There are many, many things that we start in our lives which end up pear-shaped. We end up being with people who are not going to allow us to grow, develop, and express ourselves freely. So it would be foolish to continue to maintain relationships and friendships with people, with organisations, with groups who are not going to serve you and are not going to allow you to serve them to the best of your ability. So we need to be balanced in our views. So we don't just start things and finish them just because we need to finish them. We need to finish the things that we've committed to starting, but that continue to serve us. We need to make that point very, very clearly, because some people get sucked in and they stick to relationships, they stick in friendships, they stick in social circles that are absolutely bad for them. You know, for example, bikie gangs or drug runners, or you name it. You know, there are friends that we've had over the years who it comes to a point where you realise that there is no longer any connection or any meaningful or powerful or positive connection that keeps you together. So don't be afraid to move on, is I guess the message from Brian Tracey. And Brian also talks about another thing which is near and dear to my heart, and you must never confuse activity with accomplishment. Just because somebody appears to be busy all the time, and we've worked with a lot of these people, doesn't mean that they're productive. Now, you need to be busy doing things which are important and which add value. A lot of people just do things because they're, they're urgent. Other people have told them you need to do this because it serves them, but it may not serve the organisation, and it may not serve the people who are doing the work. So we need to prioritise the things that we do in our life, and to stay focused on the things which are important. And just getting back to what I was saying before, there's just one more point that Brian Tracey says here, is that regarding task completion, it's very important to finish tasks, because by finishing tasks, he says that there are endorphins which are released into your bloodstream, into your brain. They're the natural highs. So completing things, starting things and completing things actually have an impact on your fulfillment and happiness. Brian then goes on to say that the three key things that you need to be able to do in order to be effective in your life and to be a leader is that you need to be decisive, you need to have discipline, and you need to have determination. The 3 Ds. Because once you decide to do something, it means that you cut away from every other option. So you're powerful. You need to be able to make bold decisions and not to be wishy-washy and just change at the whim of whatever comes up next or whatever somebody else imposes on you next. You need to be able to decide and to stick to with a discipline, with an unwavering discipline and determination to get things done. He also talks about the importance of thinking on paper, because clarity is power, according to Brian Tracey. And so always carry around with yourself, around paper, just like myself. Have paper and take down notes. Clarify what you want. Write it down, structure it so that you can step through it in a rational perspective. The other thing he talks about is the 80-20 rule, to stick to the important things and not to be distracted by the rats and mice tasks that come into our lives, the distractions that other people impose on us, the things which are urgent for other people but are not urgent for us. So he says there that you need to have a focus on the important things, the things that are going to make the biggest difference in order for you to be effective as an individual, as a work colleague, as a friend, as a wedding partner, as a parent. You need to be able to focus on the things, the half dozen things, the few things that have the greatest impact. And you need to have a future orientation. You need to be able to look into the future, because the future will draw your present and propel you forward. There are too many people who spend far too much time living in their past, worrying about their past, and not being able to get over their past, which robs them of their present and robs them of their future as well. In terms of how you get things done, according to Brian Tracey, is you need to do the worst things first. You need to eat the frog. Eat the frog, which is the hardest thing to do, but once you do it, then everything else after that is easier. And you'll receive the biggest endorphins. You'll get the greatest pleasure. You'll feel the greatest fulfillment once you do the hard tasks that you've set yourself. You build yourself capacity. You'll build yourself capability. You'll bend and stretch yourself, allow yourself to grow, develop, and be able to do more and more and more of the difficult things rather than to waste your time thrashing around doing the rats and mice, the things which have very, very little impact and add very, very little value to your friends, your family, your community, your work. So he also talks about the fact that we need to focus on the frogs, to eat those frogs, but also to do something about the tadpoles. And the tadpoles are the little things. So what you can do with the little things in life which are not important, which may be urgent, but are of little significance, according to Brian, is that you can get rid of those tadpoles either through delegation, getting somebody else to do it, outsourcing it to a third party where you pay to get it done, just to relieve you, to release you, to enable you to do the things that are important in your life, because we only get one crack at life, and you don't want to be 5, 10, 20 years down the track and saying, what the hell was I doing? Why was I wasting so much valuable time worrying about the things which are bloody not important? He talks about the importance of prioritizing and to use the A, B, C, D and E method. A being the things that are very, very important and urgent, and then scaling it down to E, which are the things which are insignificant, not important, and not even worth just you doing it. So he says that by the yard, this is a little catch cry, by the yard is hard, but by the inch is a cinch. So just do whatever you can, step by step, chunk things down, prioritize them, do the most important things first. And he finishes off with a very, very profound statement, a very powerful statement. And he says that at the end of the day, everything is learnable. So don't spend too much time worrying about the fact that you don't have the genes, you don't have the pedigree, you don't have the background, you don't have the education, you don't have whatever it is that you don't have. Just remember that those things are insignificant, because all those things that you don't have, you can receive, you can build, you can learn, you can accomplish, you can embrace by just A, wanting to, and B, committing to learning, growing and developing. So that's about it from me and Brian Tracey from his book, Eat That Frog. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me today on this overcast Monday, this beginning of another work week. Let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, and most importantly, stay happy, stay focused, and be productive. Be as productive as you can by focusing on the most important things that you have to focus on in your life. Pick the 3 most important things that you need to do in the 10 different areas of your life to bring balance and to be the most effective that you can possibly be. And don't worry about all the other things that you need to do, because not everything has the same value. Not everything in your life is as important and has the same weighting. Only you can tell, only you know what's important in your life, and only you can assign the weighting and the urgency that is required to get it done. So over to you. And remember, today will never come back again. What you miss out on today, you'll never get. So make today the most important day of your life, because today is your now. It's part of your eternal now, and you have power. You have the power to influence your now, and by influencing and maximizing what you do now will deliver the results today and well into the future. So continue to grow, develop and expand. continue to exert your impact, your power and your influence on your world, and let's make the most of it. So thank you very much for spending some time. Tomorrow I'll come again from another location with another message of empowerment, and we'll see where it leads us. I'll be back at another location with another message, and hopefully we will all grow and benefit and make the most of this very opportunity. Yasas, take care, and we'll chat again from Jim's 5am Club. Bye for now.